Welcome to Never Too Late to Dream, the podcast for anyone who's ever shelved a dream, talked themselves out of one, or let fear, doubt, or life itself get in the way. Every episode, I'll be talking to real people, late bloomers, slow burners, and plot twisters who dared to pursue their dreams later than supposed to. We're talking about the messy middle, the wobbles, the moments of what the hell am I doing, and the extraordinary things that happen when you keep going anyway. Because here's the thing, there's no expiry date on a dream. The world's full of people who found their groove in their 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond. And they've got stories worth hearing. Each guest will share their dream, what stopped them, how they got unstuck, and what they'd say to anyone still waiting in the wings. And I'll also be asking everyone what their dream's theme song is, because every good story deserves a soundtrack, doesn't it? Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Never Too Late to Dream. Today I'm joined by Robyn Harris from Wellbeing, and she's the author of Take a Walk on the Wild Side as well. Welcome, Robyn. Nice to see you here today.
It's brilliant to be here, Carolyn. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to see where our conversation is going to take us today.
Yes, because I haven't really revealed what I'm going to ask you about, so it could be quite interesting. So before we get into your story, can you tell our listeners a little bit more about you and what you do?
So my business is Wellbeing, Wild being an acronym, which isn't so much a set of steps, but through my own healing journey, I went from being miserable and just feeling like if this was different and if that person was different and if I could change that and if that was better, then my life would be fine. So I was looking outside all of the time and blamings and just wanting everything to be different. And then I realized I can't change any of those things. They're not under my control. But what is me, my thought processes, my perspectives, how I see myself, see the world, and engage with the world. And it really came down to that quote from Wayne Dyer, who says, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So I realized that it's down to me. I get to, not I have to, but I get to take the reins and make the choices that will best serve me, because in doing that, then I can show up as my best self. And we all, I believe, have our own unique gifts. So when we're in our best place, when we feel that we are regulated and we're in flow, we can give of our best. And if I do that, then I can support others to do that too. And that was where Wild really came from, to get that sense of spaciousness and responsibility, agency, freedom to be who we're here to be. And that's what I love to share.
Love that, Robyn. But obviously, before you're that's where you are now. So before you got to that point, did you have a dream that you wanted to pursue, and why did you want to pursue it?
Right back at the start of my journey, I didn't, because I didn't even know was this possible. But as I started to learn all of the amazing things that I've learned and realize our body has so much wisdom within it, and when we listen to it, it's so empowering, and it radically transforms who we are, how we live, how we relate to life and to those around us. And then my dream was, can I support others who are where I was? Because I look around and I see people who are finding life difficult. I hear about people who are struggling, and I wondered, can I support them to find their way to navigate their lives so that they too can get to the point of waking up feeling joyful and excited and looking forward to the new day and all of the things that they might learn and encounter on that day. So that became my dream. is that something that I can do? And that then came into Wild and, as you said, into writing my book.
Great. So I'm a great lover of music, and it's something that I've put into my book, into my own book. So I am going to ask every guest, if your dream had a theme song, what would it be and why?
I can't actually remember the title of the song that I thought of before and that I've mentioned to you, but it's the one from The Greatest Showman. Because I think
Come Alive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was Come Alive, because I just love the soundtrack for that movie. I think there are so many uplifting and empowering songs, but that particular one, it starts off where I was at the beginning of my journey, feeling like, what's the point? What's it all about? Where am I going? And at the end, it is that coming alive, realizing there's so much more potential and possibility than I had ever thought possible from where I was before, with the lenses that I was looking through at the beginning of my journey, compared to what I can now see, and how that you just feel so much more alive. I think I've been exploring a lot of stuff recently, and it is all about that sense of not just slogging through it every day, but really coming alive, feeling alive, and living and thriving.
So what stopped you from pursuing your dream at the beginning?
I think I couldn't initially pursue my dream because I just didn't feel that it was possible and that I had the power to do it. I think I felt I had so many limiting beliefs going on, and I just felt powerless to effect any change. And that sense of, well, it's never going to get any better. I think hopelessness was a massive thing for me. And now turning that around, one of the big things for me that I long to share with others is a sense of hope, a sense of possibility, a sense of spaciousness, room to expand and change and grow, whereas before I felt stuck in a little box.
So how did you get unstuck then? How did you tackle your lack of belief?
Well, I had a rather interesting start because I decided I had to do what was right, what was proper, which we're told if you're not well, you go to the doctor. So I did. And I was prescribed medication and referred for counselling. And I kind of knew that wasn't what I wanted, but I thought, well, I just have to do what I'm supposed to do. I'll tick those boxes. And I took one of the pills that I was prescribed, and I was so spaced out that I swore I'm never going to take any more of those. And the counselling, it was fine, but I didn't feel it was moving me forward. I just felt I was going round and round and round in circles. So that left me with, what else do I do? Where can I turn from here? And I'm a bit of a bookworm, so the internet wasn't quite as big a thing back when I started my journey. So I went to books, and it was reading quotes like the Wayne Dyer one that I mentioned earlier. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And another quote I came across which said that we don't look at things as they are, we look at them as we are, which is kind of the same thing, just said in a different way. It's the lenses that we look through that determine what we see. So it's my thoughts, my beliefs, my perceptions that cause the filters that determine what I see. So if I was to ask you, on your way in your next journey, when you're driving your car, I want you to notice all the red cars. And the next time we speak, let me know how many red cars you saw. And then if next time I see you, I say, right, so how many blue cars did you see on that journey? You didn't ask me about blue, about red cars.
Yeah.
I set your filter for one thing, so you didn't see the other that have passed by, and they'll have been there, but your brain won't have registered them. because your filter was so fixed on red cars. And it was the same for me. I wasn't seeing any of the good things because I was so focused on how miserable my life was. But when I read those two quotes, and then one from Bruce Lipton, who said, the moment you change your perception is the moment you rewrite the chemistry of your body. And at that time, I was having a lot of kind of niggling health issues, nothing major, but just when they were all stacked up, they were making my life a bit uncomfortable. So I had IBS, eczema, was borderline for diabetes, borderline for fibromyalgia, borderline for thyroid condition. And the doctor was basically saying, if nothing changes, you're going to have all of this. You're going to have the diabetes, you're going to have the fibromyalgia, you're going to have the thyroid condition. And I was thinking, what kind of a future is that going to be for me? I just felt my body was letting me down. It was falling apart. Was I going to be able to work? What was my long-term future? I'd already, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, had ME, and I'd been in a wheelchair for a while and then confined to bed. And I thought, I don't want that to be my future. I don't want to go back there. So reading that quote from Bruce Lipton, I thought, if I change my perception and that rewrites the chemistry of my body, can I feel better? Can I avoid being diagnosed with full-blown fibromyalgia, diabetes, or a thyroid condition and be put on medication for the rest of my life? So I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. And thinking that, well, I can't change anything out there, but if I change my perception, so I start to look at what I'm thinking, look at what I'm believing, and basically take my glasses off, give them a good old clean, put them back on, and see, is the world a brighter place? Can I find some joy? Can I take back that sense of, I did that? I get to choose. I have agency. I have responsibility. I make the choices. I get to make those choices. So I kind of played with that for a while, and just on a small scale, because I didn't have belief that it was necessarily going to make drastic changes. So I'll just try little small things that maybe other people won't notice, and I won't be too accountable then because they won't be checking up on me. And things started to shift. And you start off with that, and it becomes habit and becomes normal, and you think, I could easily add something else, and just adding and adding and adding. And then somebody said to me one day, you are so different from how you used to be. Am I? I don't think I am. But then looking back, that's when you see, actually, I started here, I'm now here. I've come quite a distance. Inside, the changes were happening in a very small way, but every day. And they were stacking and growing and building. So I didn't really notice. But then when they said that, that challenged me to take a look and see, oh gosh, yes. When that used to happen, I'd get really upset and it would be like playing around in my mind for days. Now I kind of go, yeah. And I know how to support myself back to balance now. If I feel like I've been knocked off kilter, it takes me a lot less time to get back. And sometimes I just kind of step back and go, okay, you can have your drama for a moment and then get over yourself and just move on, because it's not a big deal. And I get to laugh with myself rather than where I always used to feel I was being laughed at. But now, whatever you think of me is what you think of me, and it's actually none of my business. And sometimes it still does. That little voice still plays in my mind, but now I get to go, yeah, you're just in your drama, and you can just go and sit quietly in a corner because I've got this. I'm making different choices now because that I know doesn't work for me. It doesn't serve me. It leaves me feeling pretty rubbish. I don't want to feel rubbish. Whether it's right or it's wrong, I don't want to feel rubbish, so I'm going to choose what I think, and it actually ends up working out much better.
So knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your younger self?
It's difficult when you look back and you think, I went through what I went through. I know why my thoughts and my beliefs were what they were, and they were rather limiting. I think what I would love to say to my younger self at an earlier stage was, don't take it all so seriously. One of the other things that I came across in all of my book reading was Abraham Hicks. So Esther and Jerry Hicks, and Esther channeling the collective of Abraham. And that's one of the things that Abraham says. You take yourselves way too seriously. And I so think that's true. I took life so seriously. My life was grey. My life was a slog. But I realize now that was just because of how I was looking at things. My glasses were filthy. It was the glasses that were grey, not the world. So when I realized that and I was able to give them a good old clean, then it was that. So I think it was, don't take life so seriously. Don't worry so much about what other people are saying and doing and thinking and how they're behaving, because that's none of your business. It's outside of your control. Look at all that you have. Listen to your body, tune in, let it guide you, because it knows what's right for you, because it is you. And you're the only person that's ever walked in your shoes, lived your life. Other people can advise you. Other people can share their stories. But although you can listen to that, don't feel you have to follow it. If something resonates, great. But if it doesn't, and honestly doesn't, then you can just put it down and carry on your own path, because they don't know what it's like to be you.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the benefit of hindsight, is there anything you would do differently?
That's hard to say, because you go through what you go through, and you're learning what you learn when you're ready to learn it. So with the knowledge that I have now, I might have made different choices then, but I didn't have that knowledge then. So in that respect, I try not to look backwards and regret, but to take lessons from what has happened and think along the lines of, if I had what I know now then, I would have made different choices. So let's stick with what I know now and make sure I use that information to make the best choices going forward, because I can't change the past. And I don't want to spend any time in regret, because it's not going to get me anywhere.
Yeah, and it shapes how you are now, doesn't it? So your experiences shape how you live now, and you obviously, it is with the benefit of hindsight. So that's a difficult question to answer, but just thought it'd be quite an interesting one to ask.
It is.
So what does success mean for you?
That's always an interesting question, isn't it? Success for me, I think, is that I live by the lessons I've learned, and I don't spend time worrying about the past or worrying about those things that I used to worry about that kept me small. So all of the wonderful things that I've learned, to put them into practice and to allow them to shape my future, create my future, the future that I want to be living. I think that's the success for me, to be who I was born to be, to step into that more and more and more. I think it's a lifelong journey, a lifelong process, and to enjoy that.
So do you feel you're there at the sort of success that you've got now?
Like I was saying, I think it's a lifelong journey. So hopefully I'm pretty good with where I am right now along that path. I'm in a pretty good place for all that's been and all that's still to come. But hopefully I've still got quite a lot to learn and a lot of growing to do, because I'm one of those people who just loves every day's a school day. I love learning. I love growing. I love challenges. I love having conversations like these to explore these things, to kind of put them out on the table and look at them from all different angles and see, ooh, what have I not seen yet? And I love that, if you go for a walk and you might go on a regular route, but you go on it the same way. And then if another day you decide, I'm going to go from a different direction, same route, but I'm going to go backwards or whatever. And suddenly you notice things that you never noticed before, just because I'm now walking past that way rather than that way. And just that different angle opens up things that you've never spotted before. So yeah, I hope that I still have a lot of learning and growth and challenge ahead. And hopefully I embrace that. And it's, I know sometimes things are challenging, as in, oh, that's a bit uncomfortable, but I hope I can embrace it and just take the best bits.
So where do you see yourself in the future? Do you have any new dreams that you'd like to pursue?
I'm working on several collaborations at the moment. They're still in their very early stages, but I'm excited to see where they might take me. They are largely in the world of well-being, but well-being in different aspects of well-being. So I'm working with one group on a conference that's coming up in October that's all around community well-being, suicide and bereavement, because I do quite a lot of work around grief and loss. I'm working with the deaf community because, unfortunately, for those who are fluent sign language users and that's their first language, there's not an awful lot of resources out there in sign language. There's a lot in English. You can get leaflets, you can get websites. But if that's not your first language, that can be a real barrier. So being a fluent sign language user, I love to be able to bring what I do to the deaf community directly rather than having to rely on it going through an interpreter. I am also an interpreter, so I do understand that's a really challenging role, but I believe strongly that information for the deaf community should be provided directly, one-to-one, where at all possible. So I've been working with a local deaf organisation to bring workshops and stuff to the community there. And various other bits and pieces. I'm doing more speaking, being on podcasts, and I love all of that. So yeah, more of that is what I'm looking forward to.
All right, look forward to seeing more of that. So what would you say to somebody who's put their dream on the back burner?
I would encourage them to listen to what their heart is saying and to what lights them up. Because when we can tune in to what lights us up and make space and time, give ourselves permission, know that we don't have to earn that. We are worthy of bringing more of that into our life. And that allows the light to come back on, the color to come back into your life. If you're currently feeling that your life's a bit grey and a bit drab and a bit of a slog, like I was saying earlier. But when we see ourselves as worthy of having that joy in our lives, I think there's a huge knock-on effect. It really shifts how we see ourselves and how we see the world. And it allows other good things to come. And like the idea of manifestation and The Secret and law of attraction, when we see ourselves as worthy of that joy and that fun, and we start bringing more of it into our lives, it attracts more. And anything that we're grateful for and we're enjoying and we're bringing in all of those high vibration emotions, the universe kind of is going, whoa, you really like this. Do you want some more? Whereas if we are where I was, oh, everything's grey and it's lack and it's bad and I can't do this and I should be doing this, but oh, I don't like it, I don't enjoy it. The universe is saying, gosh, you're spending a lot of time in that energy. If you like that, I'll give you more. So it's whatever we focus on. So I would say to people, focus on what your heart is calling you to and do those little steps, and it will grow even without you realizing it, because it's like that plant that you're watering regularly, you're giving it food, you're giving it the right conditions that it needs. And when we do that for ourselves, we blossom too.
Great advice. So finally, how can listeners find out more about you and what you do?
I hopefully am fairly easily found. My website is, as it says there in the banner below me, Wild UK. That's w-i-l-d.uk, not .co.uk. That is actually correct. It's just .uk. My email then is kind of what it says there, robyn@wild.uk. I'm also on Facebook, just my name, Robyn Harris. On LinkedIn, same, my name, Robyn Harris. I have a YouTube channel, which is Wild TV, and a podcast, which is the VIG podcast, Vulnerability, Introspection and Growth. And I'm on Substack as Wild Whispers. So any of those. But if you go to my website and then the tabs across the top, hover over resources, get the drop-down menu, and there's a links list there.
I will add all your links in, Robyn, to the show notes as well, so people can find out more about what you do. But thank you so much for being my first guest on this podcast. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for your insights and your wisdom.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. It's been a joy and an honour to be your first guest. Thank you.
And that's it for episode 2 of Never Too Late to Dream. And what a great conversation that was with Robyn Harris. Next month, I'll be joined by Maria Newman. And if you don't want to miss that episode, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you do like what you hear, please share, like, and leave us a nice review if you can. And finally, don't forget that it's never too late to dream. It really isn't.